What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be covering some SAT tips and tricks, specifically for the math section. Now the SAT is all about strategy. Even if you don't know every single concept, using the right tricks can skyrocket your score. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you 6 tips to help you on the SAT. So as a disclaimer, just know that the examples I'm using in this video are going to be easy problems, but these tricks can be applied to all questions. I'm just using easy examples because I want this to be a tips and tricks video, not an actual math solving video. Now, on the topic of easy and hard questions, this brings me to my first tip. Now, for each module on the SAT, you're going to get about 20-something questions. And the first question is going to be really easy. As you near the end, it's going to get harder and harder. So knowing that the SAT generally follows an increasing difficulty pattern, if you are spending tons of time on one of the first problems, you're most likely overthinking it. And in that case, you should probably mark the question for review, skip it for now, and come back to it after you finish the rest of the module, because you should save your energy for the harder questions at the end. Alright, and tip number 2 is to use the reference sheet to its fullest advantage. On the SAT math section, you're going to be given a reference sheet, and it is your best friend. Many students waste time memorizing formulas that are already given to them. As you can see, here is the reference sheet that you will be given on the SAT. It gives you pretty much all of the necessary geometric formulas needed to calculate volume or area. As you can see, it has the special right triangles. You got the volume, more volume, 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 volume. You got the areas. You got c squared equals a squared plus b squared, and you also got the circle stuff. And down here, you got some of the basic stuff. So what does this mean? This means that you should not be spending your time memorizing the formulas already given on the reference sheet. Instead, spend your time on the ones that are not provided. This includes stuff like y equals mx plus b, x equals negative b over 2a, the quadratic equation, and the list goes on. So yeah, if you're going to spend your time memorizing formulas, it's going to be these ones that are not included on the reference sheet. Tip number 3, whenever you are given a figure, make sure you look below the figure to see if you find these words saying figure not drawn to scale. If the question doesn't say figure not drawn to scale, then it is drawn to scale, so you can use that to your advantage by making reasonable estimates. And if you know that the figure is accurate, then that means that you can eyeball angles and lengths to check your answers. So if you're stuck between two answer choices, estimating can help you eliminate the wrong ones. Let's say that you're handed a problem like this and you found the angle of x. Because it does say figure not drawn to scale, to double check your answer, you have to actually go back and recalculate your answer, making sure that you didn't make any mistakes. But if you do not see the words figure not drawn to scale, and somehow you get x equals 220 degrees, then you can confidently eliminate that answer because that does not look like 220 degrees. Now, tip number 4 is to use desmos. You need to be taking advantage of desmos. Instead of manually solving systems of equations, you can just plug them into desmos and see where they intersect. Many questions can be solved instantly by graphing equations instead of doing actual algebra. Let's say that you're given a question like this. Tell me how you're going to solve this in under 10 seconds. Because I know how, and that's by plugging it into desmos. Literally grab this, copy and paste it into desmos, and you'll get your answer. Well, don't actually copy and paste because you can't do that. You're going to have to actually type it in. But you get what I mean. Literally, just put that equation into desmos and identify the x values for where the graph intersects with the x-axis. And those are going to be the solutions. So the two x values that we just saw were 2 and 3, so therefore the answer is C. You can also use desmos to solve for problems regarding system of equations. Now let's say that your question looks something like this and it asks you what is the solution to the system of equations. For this one, all you have to do is plug in both equations into desmos and find where the graphs intersect. So let's go to desmos again. We're going to plug in y equals 2x plus 3 and then y equals negative x plus 6. And here you can see it intersects at 1, 5, so that's going to be our answer. So therefore our answer is going to be A. But wait, there's more. Let's say you're given the question, how many solutions does the equation absolute value of x minus 3 equal x minus 1 have? So to plug this into desmos, we're going to have to set both sides of the equation equal to the same thing, and we're going to use y. So let's head over to desmos, and we're going to plug in y equals absolute value of x minus 3, and y equals x minus 1. And it looks like they only intersect once over here. So that means that the equation has one solution and our answer is B. Alright, one last example for desmos, I promise. What is the minimum value of f of x equals x squared minus 6x plus 8? Now, because it's asking for the minimum value, we're going to have to look for the lowest point on the graph. Let's plug this equation into desmos and let's find the lowest value here, which is 3, negative 1. And since the question is asking for the lowest point, we can assume it's asking for the y value, which is negative 1, so therefore our answer is D. Alright, on to tip number 5, keywords. This one's pretty straightforward and it's especially useful when it comes to word problems, which I know many people struggle with. And the main reason people struggle with word problems is because there's a whole lot of words and not any actual numbers or mathematical symbols, so it's easy to get lost in the sentences and not understand how to actually get an equation out of it. And this is exactly why you need to look out for keywords, so you can directly translate these words into an equation. For example, of usually means multiplication. So let's say they're asking you what is 15% of 50. You're going to turn that 15% into 0.15 and turn that of into a multiplication sign, and 50 can stay the same because we like 50. And now you have an equation. Plug that into your calculator and you're going to get 7.5, so that's your answer. Now another example is per, and it usually means division. So let's say that we have a car and it drives 50 miles, and in those 50 miles it used 250 gallons of gas. The question asks how many gallons of gas per mile driven is used, and because we know that per means division, all we're going to do is turn the per into a division sign. And we know there's 250 gallons of gas. We're going to turn the per into a division sign, and there's 50 miles. So now we have an equation, which is 250 over 50. Therefore, our answer is 5, meaning that 5 gallons of gas is used per mile driven. Now, my last tip seems very obvious, but it's to double check all your answers, because more often than not, you're going to have at least 2 to 3 minutes to spare after you've finished all of the questions for the module. I want you to use this time wisely and double check all your answers. Now, you might be saying, but I don't have enough time to go back and redo all 20-something questions. Yes, you do, because you don't have to actually redo every question to check your answers. All you have to do is look at your question and ask yourself, does it make sense? Does my answer make sense? For example, let's say that the question is asking, what's 130% of 50? And your answer was 27. Does that look right to you? Did you have to actually calculate 130% of 50 to tell me that 27 isn't correct? No, you didn't. You just looked at it and said, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. Because how can 130% of 50 be less than 50? If it's 100% of 50, then it's already 50. So if you're going to go anything beyond that, such as 130%, then it has to be bigger than 50. So 27 doesn't make any sense. See how you only need 3 seconds to establish the fact that your answer is wrong? That's all you have to do to double check your answers. You do not have to actually redo the question unless it's more complex. Anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you learned something new, and good luck to everyone studying for the SAT. On a final note, the SAT is not something that is a direct measure of your intelligence, so if you don't get the grade that you're expecting, just know that, life goes on and it's okay because you can always retake it.